I get overly enthusiastic every so often when something sub $500 comes out that I think is fantastic looking, and this has to be it. This is the Timex Waterbury Chronograph, and we're going to talk about how much I really like this watch, and then some of the downsides that come with it later on in the video. First impressions, it is a stunner. The panda dial, the silver face with contrasting black subdials, it offers a classic look that's both sporty and has some elegance to it. It's the kind of watch that feels at home whether you're at a business meeting or at a weekend brunch. Chronographs specifically are a weak point of mine. I always love to wear a nice looking chronograph. Let's talk about design. It's a 39mm stainless steel case. So it's a great sweet spot to make it, substantial, but yet comfortable enough to wear. It is 13.9mm thick, so it is pretty tall for a quartz watch. The fixed black tachymeter bezel here adds to sporty touch, while the fluted crown and pushers provide a nod to vintage screw-down chronographs. Despite the fact that they have a screw-down appearance, the pushers are purely aesthetic in terms of the screw-down portion. You just press them to start and stop and ignore the fact that it looks like it's screwed down, and it provides a 50-meter water resistance. The case finishing here is impressive. It's mostly brushed with polished accents to catch the light just right. It's a design that pays homage to classic chronographs while incorporating a lot of modern elements. Now, the dial is the standout show for this watch, that combined with that tachymeter bezel. The silver sunburst finish here, which provides a dynamic backdrop, shifting subtly under different lighting conditions. The black subdials at 3 and 9 offer a striking contrast, enhancing legibility and adding depth to the design. Applied hour markers and hands are coated with luminescent material, ensuring some readability in low light conditions. The lume is not very impressive though, so don't expect to read this very easily at night. The chronograph function includes a center seconds hand and a 24-hour subdial at 3 o'clock. And a running seconds counter at 9 o'clock. Moving outward, you have a fixed black tachymeter bezel. It's both functional and stylish, allowing for speed calculations over a known distance, but no one actually uses that. Let's be fair, it's purely aesthetic. The crown here is flanked by 2 pushers, all maintaining a vintage aesthetic. Mineral glass crystal offers durability and clarity, protects the dial from daily wear and tear, but it isn't a sapphire crystal. So you are gonna lose that when you're buying typically a brand at this price point. If you're buying a micro brand, you might be able to get sapphire crystal on top of that, but I think that this is fine. It doesn't really matter. Powering this watch is a reliable quartz analog movement, while Timex doesn't specify exactly the caliber. I have a guess that this is a Seiko movement inside, just given the fact that there's a 24-hour indicator on that right hand or 3 o'clock subdial. That 24-hour indicator is semi-useful. It is kind of helpful just to know what time of day you are, but without a date on the watch, the 24-hour subdial doesn't add that extra help of when you set the date, making sure you're not close to the date, changeover time frame. It's not really that helpful. It's mainly just there for aesthetics, and with a quartz movement, typically that 3 o'clock in a Seiko movement is going to be a 24-hour dial. Now let's talk bracelet. I talked about this in a different watch video that I just released on the Wise Adamascus ADX, their true GMT. That one had the same bracelet as this, which means that there are no screws, no pin and collar. And I will take this over pin and collar, that's for sure. And I might even take this over screws. Whether or not the springs last forever is kind of the question mark here. But I love the fact that I can just pull up, lift out the link like that, and then I can slide out this set of links. And then I just pull up, set out, and then slide out that set. I just removed a link, and then I could set this back in, slide it in, and then snap on that end link. Now, a lot of people had questions on my Wise about like, that probably can't handle the same sort of, wear and tear. That doesn't make any sense. It's a pin captured at 2 ends. That load span, how much it bends over time, is the same whether that pin is a pin and collar or that pin is a screw. Depending on the diameter of the pin and the length of the pin that's unsupported is the depender on how much it's going to bend over time. Really, the only question mark here is whether or not the spring will wear down over time, and therefore that end link here get a little loose. I can even tell you this Timex is more easily adjustable than like that Wise that I had been using. So it really, that's the only factor, but the pin wearing down shouldn't make it too much of a difference unless you're a klutz and you start to put on the link and then bend it out while you're putting it on. But for most part, I think the bracelet is functional, interesting, and something I would love to see on more watches because It makes adjusting them so easy, especially compared to pin and collar. I would take this every day of the week. Now, I won't be wearing it on the bracelet all that often, although it does feature, some pelage work and some overall nice finishing, especially for the money. And it has a quick release clasp at the back. I'm not gonna be wearing it on the bracelet all that often because instead, I think the watch wears really well on straps, NATO straps, rubber straps, just because I'm, with chronographs, I'm a strap guy over bracelets for sure. And I think this is an Artem NATO strap. Now they did send this to me and down in the links, that is an affiliate link with Artem, but I think the watch obviously is really nice regardless of what you put it on. That's the benefit of a classic dial look like this. You can put it on a NATO, a rubber, a leather strap, a bracelet, and it's gonna look great. It's gonna fit in. And I think if you're looking for a versatile, stylish watch that's reliable, you don't have to think too much about, you don't care that it's quartz and it won't break the bank, this needs to be on your radar, or it needs to be something you go ahead and buy and try out. I don't often ask, but please do me a favor and subscribe. I know a lot of people watch some of these videos and it's always very helpful, but in order to get access to a lot of different watches, it helps to have that subscriber number be high. It's not always indicative of who gets a lot of views or whether or not someone watches the channel. It purely is something that people are still using as a scorecard to find out who they're gonna work with between YouTubers. So if you can hit subscribe, it helps me out. Thank you very much. Now, it still has some downsides. No watch is without its quirks. The 24-hour dial on the right is a bit confusing. It's not that easy to read, and it's kind of silly. Like, no one actually uses that. So I'm not entirely sure why those movements, or why Seiko hasn't come up with a movement that doesn't have a 24-hour indicator. At this point, it's just a useless feature to have on there. The bracelet doesn't have any micro adjust or half links. So you're either gonna have the perfect fit, or it's gonna be too loose, or it's gonna be too tight. If you're the lucky person that has a perfect fit, good for you. When your wrist starts to swell, it's probably gonna be too tight. So that's always the downside with no micro adjust. The fact that you can remove a link so easily means that you could size at a link heavy and then take that link out when your wrist swells, but no one's actually gonna do that. So the bracelet is not that helpful for that reason. Obviously the loom isn't the best in the world. I think the pusher action, while functional and useful, is a little confusing if you're used to a mechanical watch with a screw down crown. But, again, who really cares that much about that? I think that it is usable, nice, and feels just as responsive. The fact that it has a mecha quartz movement in there means the hand looks like a normal mechanical watch chronograph hand as it moves. And I think that that's a great added touch. So if you're someone that's into mechanical watches, it still feels in a lot of ways like a mechanical chronograph. It just doesn't have the sound of a mechanical chronograph ticking. So that's the only thing that you're missing there. I think the text, there's a little bit too much text, but I think I'm being a little too nitpicky about the text. Timex is a little big, Waterbury, I don't think we could have just left Timex at the top, but again, that's personal preference. In the end, if you're looking for a versatile, stylish, reliable chronograph that won't break the bank, this needs to be on your radar, or it's something you should probably go out and buy right now. I think it's a great watch. It's something that I will easily wear over the next few weeks here. But let me know, would you guys add this Panda dial to your collection? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.